Well, hello, Nats fans, and welcome to another edition of the DoDCast Postgame Show. I'm Drew Douglas, and I'll be your host for tonight. And boy, what a game we saw tonight! The Nationals beat the Miami Marlins 2-1 in front of what looked like only a few thousand people. It was a small crowd, even for Miami standards, and looked like a good majority of the 15,000 paid attendance did not show up with Hurricane Irma looming. So there weren't many people in attendance to see the Nationals win, but it did seem like it was mostly Nationals fans there. The Nationals are one of the better teams in the league. They're getting pretty popular across the country. And tonight, towards the end of the game, we heard a "Let's Go Nats" chant. So that was cool to hear in an opposing ballpark. We haven't heard that too much in the team's history. But yeah, it was a good win altogether. We'll get into the lines a little bit here. Alejandro De Aza, who got to start in left field tonight, he was in the two-hole. He had a good night. He went 2 for 4 with a couple of nice plays in the outfield. Daniel Murphy had a huge night. He struggled for a little bit. But, lately he's looked great. He went 2 for 4 tonight with a homer. And he also had a ball that should have been a homer. He was robbed by Giancarlo Stanton, who can seemingly do everything on a baseball field. But so, yeah, Murphy had a great game, multi-hit game, almost a multi-home run game. Adam Lind in the 5-hole went 2 for 3 with a run scored. He had a couple of big hits, both opposite field. He's a good professional hitter. He got to start for tonight, but he's also done a great job coming off the bench. So he had a good game before being pinch run for by Edwin Jackson late in the game. And Pedro Severino, who got to start today with Matt Wieters still a little banged up, he went 2 for 4 and did a great job for the most part behind the plate. He did have the pass ball there in the 9th inning, but he had a good day offensively and did a good job of calling pitches for Steven Strasburg. So a little bit about Strasburg. Today we saw him dealing with some of those same calf cramp issues that he's been dealing with, but he had a good game while he was in it. So he went 6 innings, only allowing 6 hits, no runs with 8 strikeouts. And also he extended his scoreless streak to 26 innings, which is a new team record. He broke Gio Gonzalez's record of 25 consecutive innings. But yeah, his night was cut short. He was at 90 pitches through 6 innings, so you don't know how much he really had left in the tank. But you'd think he would have at least gone out to start the 7th and just see how things go from there had it not been for his calf cramps. He was visited by the trainer at one point, and then throughout the remainder of his start, he had Mike Maddox and Paul Lessard, the head trainer, on the top step of the dugout monitoring him very closely. And really, we've seen his calf cramps as an issue throughout his last few starts. And you'd think whether if it was a hydration issue, the Nationals have a professional medical staff. They could work to get him hydrated. If it was maybe a potassium issue, we've seen him receive potassium chews in the past during his start in Houston. Maybe eat some bananas. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a health professional, but the Nationals do have very good staff, and you'd think they could take care of this and make sure that it wasn't a consistent issue. But obviously, it has been. Hopefully, this is the last we see of it. But when he is on the field, even pitching through these calf cramps, he's pitched phenomenally. Sammy Solis came in after Strasburg. He threw an inning and a third with a strikeout. He looked great. He had, especially his curveball was working really well tonight. And what I was really impressed with was he did a great job of keeping his composure after the Worth error allowed the tying run to get into scoring position with 2 outs. Back when the game was still 1-0, Jason Worth dropped a fly ball in right field, and then Ichiro came to play as one of the best hitters of all time. So it was just a little slap hitter. If he pokes a single just over an infielder's head, all of a sudden it's a tie game. So Solis did a great job keeping his composure there and getting out of that. Then Matt Albers came in. He had a tough assignment. He came in to get Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich out, but he did his job. He went 2/3 of an inning with 1 strikeout, and then Sean Doolittle came in for the 9th. He got the save, his 18th of the year. He threw 1 inning, allowing 1 hit, which was just a little bloop single to Marcell Ozuna, and then 1 run, but it wasn't earned. It was the Ozuna single, and then he advanced to second because of the Severino wild pitch or pass ball, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So his ERA wasn't affected. And then getting to Trey Turner and Jason Worth a little bit, they've recently returned from their DL stints. Both were pretty lengthy. And tonight they went a combined 0 for 8 with 6 guys left on base. And Worth, he had the big game, his first game back off the disabled list, but since then he hasn't really looked like himself at the plate. It looks like he's still a little off. His timing may be off, and that's going to happen. And Trey Turner, he's looked pretty good for the most part. And while he did go 0 for 4 tonight, he had a couple hard hit balls early, so he easily could have had 2 hits and had a multi-hit game, it's a completely different story. But I think both of them are probably still trying to get back into the swing of things. Luckily, the Nats have the luxury of they have a huge lead. Their magic number is now down to 8 to clinch the division, and Trey Turner and Jason Worth are both back for all of September, so they have plenty of time to get their swing back and get back into the swing of things before the games really matter in the postseason. So we'll check the chat a little bit. Judah Joker said Trey Turner is lighting the world on fire. Our pitching is beyond elite. Dew may as well be Mo by our standards. The Dodgers are losing. Good times for Nats fans. And yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Trey Turner is playing well. And it's just good to see him back, as he missed 2 months with that broken wrist. Our pitching, Chelsea Janes today tweeted that Strasburg's ERA fell to 2.78 today, which means the Nats have 3 of the 4 lowest ERAs among NL starters. So that's unbelievable. The Nationals rotation is really clicking on all cylinders, and Tanner Roark has looked great lately after his poor first half. So, pitching and defense wins games in the playoffs, and I'd take the Nationals pitching staff over really anyone. So I think they're putting the team in a great position to win in the postseason. The offense has struggled a little bit recently, but hopefully get Bryce Harper back eventually before the postseason. That should help a lot. So I think assuming everyone is healthy, the Nationals are in a great position to go on a deep postseason run this October. Judo also pointed out that some writers are actually giving merit to the idiotic idea that the Dodgers are better without Kershaw in the playoffs. And yeah, Kershaw has kind of battled various injuries in the past, mostly with his back. And somehow Kershaw, who's arguably the best pitcher in the league, the Dodgers' record without him is actually better. But I think that's just a weird coincidence. Obviously, they're not better off without him. You definitely take him any day. It's not really a question. And then, yeah, Seth Ross was pointing out that Hurricane Irma is up here on the East Coast. We saw a few games get delayed or postponed tonight. There's rain just all up the East Coast. So, but Florida is definitely going to get hit the hardest. Getting to the Marlins lines a little bit. D. Gordon, leading off tonight, went 1 for 4. Giancarlo Stanton, who's been lighting the world on fire recently, he went 0 for 4 tonight. And, he's arguably the best hitter in the league. He's obviously had a historic season. He's chasing home run records. People are saying possibly he'll get to 62, which is believed to be the clean record. And he went 0 for 4 tonight with a couple strikeouts. I think the Nationals have really pitched him really well. I know he has several homers, but other than that, I don't think that he's really hurt the Nats too bad. So I think the Nationals have handled him pretty well. Christian Yelich went 1 for 4 tonight, but Marcell Ozuna did most of the damage. He went 3 for 4 with a run scored. He had 3 of their 7 hits, so almost half of them. JT Realmuto, who's one of the best hitting catchers in the league, he went 1 for 4. And Miguel Rojas went 1 for 3 out of the 8 hole. So not much for the Marlins offense. They only got 7 hits in the 1 run, which was in the 9th inning. Nationals pitching staff didn't even allow an earned run, so that was good to see. Back in the chat, Rob said Murphy looking like he's feeling good again. And yeah, he really didn't look like himself. He's looking kind of fatigued at times. FP pointed out tonight that really when he's having fun, he's talking to umpires. He's kind of coaching everyone in the dugout. Tonight we saw him coaching or talking to Matt Albers about how he decided to pitch against Giancarlo Stanton. So tonight he had a multi-hit game, nearly had a multi-homer game. So yeah, he's looking like he really found his swing again, and hopefully he's able to remain locked in throughout the remainder of the season and into the postseason, and have a postseason similar to what he had for the Mets in 2015. Jay Lewis said D. Gordon is pesky and drives me nuts, and yeah, it's and he's really a game changer, as we kind of saw with Trey Turner last year, and seen with Trey Turner some this year, but not too much since he's been injured for most of the year. D. Gordon, he just hit a ground ball. He puts the pressure on the infielder to make a good throw and a quick throw with his speed. And then when he's on base, it kind of changes everything, because with base stealers on, you're most likely to want to throw a fastball and give your catcher a chance to throw him out. But with Giancarlo Stanton in the 2-hole, if D. Gordon gets on, then you really want to pitch Giancarlo Stanton backwards and keep pounding him with all-speed pitches, which puts Gordon in a good position to steal bases. So, yeah, Gordon, when he's going, he's great. He's a really pesky player, and hopefully that's what we'll see from Trey Turner moving forward, if he's able to kind of get back into the swing of things after missing a few months. Rob also said that people are interested in Harper's health. Today, Bryce Harper played catch for the first time since his injury, and he walked the stairs at Marlins Park. And in other news, he also got cornrows, which was a move heavily scrutinized on Twitter. So if you haven't seen that, you should definitely go check it out. I'm sure it won't be too hard to find if you just type in Bryce Harper cornrows. This guy's hair has kind of always been a big part of his image, and now it's trying a new look. But yeah. But aside from his hair, it's definitely good to see that he is making progress towards returning. Dusty kind of pointed that out today, saying that the Nats are really getting the gang back together with Trey Turner and Jason Worth already back, and now Harper progressing back. Last week, Dusty said that Harper was a long ways from running, but we have seen videos of Harper rehabbing that leg, and now he's throwing and walking the stairs. So hopefully we'll be able to get Harper back in the next couple weeks, maybe get some at-bats and some playing time before the playoffs start, and he's not just thrown into the fire the postseason. So, yeah, hopefully he's able to continue to progress and see him back shortly. Jay Lewis said, random question for next year, what do we do about left field? And I think if Worth is back, maybe he platoons, like Judah Joker pointed out, but I don't think we see Worth back on the team next year. I think he's better suited possibly in a DH role in the American League team because he's getting older. He's 38 years old. He's not what he was defensively, and he has been a little susceptible to injury. So, but he is still a quality hitter. He's able to give you a great at-bat pretty much on a daily basis. He's able to go out and grind out a bat, see a lot of pitches. He's a great two-hole hitter. And so I think maybe he goes to the American League and just hits, and he could play defense like if a regular outfielder needs a day off, but then that would give him some time to kind of rest some more and hope not be as susceptible to injuries. So I think maybe we see Adam Eaton shift to left next year coming off of the knee surgery with Michael Taylor and Brian Goodwin in center field and Bryce Harper in right field. So we'll take a look around the league this year, tonight. The other DMV team, the Baltimore Orioles, they're currently losing to the New York Yankees 2-1, but it's still early. It's the third. That game is being played in Baltimore, and like I said, the whole East Coast is kind of getting pounded with rain right now, so the game was delayed a couple hours. Also in the division, the Philadelphia Phillies beat the New York Mets 9-1. Ben Lively got the win for Philadelphia, and he also homered, his second of the year. And Jacob deGrom got the loss for the New York Mets, so he falls to 14-9. And the final division team, the Atlanta Braves, they're currently delayed. That game is in Atlanta, and the whole East Coast being pounded by rain. So we'll see if that game gets played tonight. It hasn't officially been postponed, but it has been in delay for a long time now, so it's not looking too promising. It's a couple teams, the Braves and the Rangers. Neither one of them are really in a playoff hunt too much, so maybe we see doubleheader tomorrow, or maybe the game doesn't get made up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Back to the chat, Larry Jacobs said, or he asked if Howie Kendrick was injured, and not that I know of, but Dusty has said that Howie Kendrick frequently deals with a stiff back, so maybe he's just day-to-day and he's getting a couple days off. So we'll see if he returns to action in the next couple days. He's done a great job filling in the outfield. He's played mostly left field, but he's played a little bit of right field since Harper got hurt. He's been playing second base. He played third at one point. So, yeah, him and Defoe have kind of been huge for the team with huge defensive versatility while also producing offensively. So, yeah, he hasn't played in a few days, but hopefully we see him back soon. Take a look around the minor leagues. Class A short season, Auburn Doubledays lost to State College 8-6 tonight, and the Gulf Coast League Nationals lost to the Gulf Coast League Yankees East 2-1. In that Auburn game, Seth Romero, the Nationals' first-round pick from this year, got to start, and he had a great first inning. He struck out the side and hit 96 consistently, but as a whole, his outing wasn't great. He only managed to go 4 1/3, allowing 4 hits on 5 runs, all of them earned, walking 3 with 10 strikeouts. So he racked up a ton of strikeouts tonight. 10 of his 13 outs were strikeouts, so that's big, but he did allow 5 runs. And another noteworthy piece of information about the minor leagues, the Gulf Coast League Nationals will play the Gulf Coast League Yankees East in the championship game tomorrow. And if it's not decided in 9 innings, they're named co-champs. And hopefully this is a precursor of what's to come with the Nats, with them going to the championship game. Judo Joker said, "Can we start a GoFundMe page to have Hunter Strickland be forced to pitch against us every game in the playoffs?" Yeah, that'd be nice. We saw Strickland was roughed up in 2014 when the Nats played the Giants in the National League Division Series. And earlier this year, obviously, they had the incident where he hit Bryce Harper. But then when the series came back to D.C., he was hit pretty hard. Anthony Rendon took him deep. And so I would like to see him again, but obviously we're past the traded line and the Giants aren't going to make the postseason. So maybe next season. There's always hope for that. And Ricky Keeler asked my thoughts on the Apple Watch gate. And yeah, what he's referring to is today it was reported that the Red Sox were cheating. They were copying signs from the Yankees and they were stealing signs from the Yankees and other teams with an Apple Watch. They had a trainer in the dugout supposedly relaying signs to guys such as Dustin Pedroia and Brock Holt were the two that were named. And yeah, the Red Sox are really following suit of the other New England area team, the New England Patriots, with their cheating. But yeah, I mean, obviously if the reports were true and the Red Sox were cheating, there's going to be some repercussions. And you know, stealing signs is part of the game, and I don't really mind it from a guy like a runner on second base relaying signs in the home plate. If you're going to let the signs be stolen like that, then that's kind of on you, in my opinion. But there is a policy against electronics in the dugout, so obviously by having an Apple Watch on the trainer in the dugout, that's breaking that. So I don't like the Red Sox breaking that rule, and we'll have to see how they're punished, if they are punished, moving forward. And Larry Jacobs said, "I do like Adam Lind a lot. The team should bring him back next year. What do you guys think?" And yeah, I love Adam Lind. And as Rob pointed out, he has a $5 million mutual option next year. And I would love to see him back. He's done a great job as a backup and starting as he did tonight. But it's obviously a mutual option, so the Nats can't just pick it up. He has to want to come back. But he has seemed like he wants to come back. I just think that the way he's played, he deserves to start, and he could get a starting job somewhere. And so, well, $5 million is a lot for him. I think he'll probably go somewhere. But if he's back, that'd be huge. Like, as I said, he's done a great job off the bench, and Ryan Zimmerman has done a good job of staying healthy this year. But in previous years, he's really battled injuries and he hasn't played this many games in a long time. So if his injuries return next year, it'd be nice to have Adam Lind, who can step in, and he's really an everyday player in a backup role. So you're not really losing too much if you have to play Adam Lind at first as opposed to Ryan Zimmerman. Jay Lewis says, "Sign Kinsler," and yeah, I would love to see him back, but he's kind of the same thing where he's done a great job, but I think he could have a better role somewhere else. Sean Doolittle is kind of penned into the closer's role. And so I think Kinsler, he did a great job closing in Minnesota earlier this year. He's done a solid job in the 7th inning and among other roles for the Nationals so far. And so I think he could go out and get a closing job. But obviously, if I think most of what these closers want is to rack up saves and go out and get a big contract. So maybe if the Nationals are willing to give him closer money to pitch the 7th inning, he'll return. I would love to see that, because with him, Madsen, and Doolittle in the back end of the bullpen, not to mention Coda Glover, who's currently hurt, Enny Romero has pitched well, Matt Albers has pitched well, Solis has looked better. Due to all those guys, it's a great bullpen, and what looked to be one of the worst bullpens in the league earlier this year, it turns out to be a huge strength. So, yeah, I would love to see Kinsler back, but I'm not sure that we will. Larry Jacobs said there wasn't a podcast after yesterday's game. Yeah, we were experiencing some technical difficulties, so we did have to skip yesterday's podcast, but we're back. And yeah, like Ricky said, we apologize for that. So just some other noteworthy things from the Nationals today. Max Scherzer, who is dealing with a little bit of a calf issue as he was hit with a comebacker in his last appearance. He said that he has a bullpen scheduled for tomorrow, and he doesn't feel that he's going to miss a start. So that'd be big, you know, with Steven Strasburg battling calf issues. You'd like to see Max Scherzer remain healthy. And so the fact that he is going to pitch a bullpen tomorrow, and assuming it goes well, he's not going to miss a start, that's big news for the Nats. And then other injury news, as I said, Pedro Severino started tonight, and Jose Lobaton is going to start tomorrow because Matt Wieters is still a little banged up. He's taken a couple of foul balls off mostly his knees, and so he's not feeling well. But So while he isn't like on the disabled list or anything, and he has gotten a start here or there, Dusty's just trying to give him some days off, let him get healthy, and be in as good a shape as he can be moving forward into the postseason, especially now in September with the rosters expanded. You have 4 catchers on the roster between Wieters, Lobaton, Severino, and Rowdy Reed. So there's really no need to play Wieters, and if he's a little banged up, then give him some time to recover. Going back to the chat a little bit, Jay Lewis said, I thought Wieters' back was giving him fits, and yeah, Wieters is a catcher. He's got all kinds of issues going on. It's now September, so there's always stuff going on with pretty much every player, but especially catchers, as they're crouching down for 9 innings, like at least like 4 or 5 times a week, and just blocking balls. I'm sure he's got several issues with his knees and his back, among other things that we don't even know about. So, yeah, just the days off should help with whatever he is dealing with, and hopefully we'll see him back shortly, and maybe these days off allow him to get his back going like it was back in April, because he struggled through most of this year since April, and obviously he has been banged up. But if he's able to kind of heal up a little bit in the coming days, maybe we see him return to his April form, which would be huge for this team. It really extends the lineup with him in the 7 or 8 hole hitting like a middle of the lineup hitter. So that would be big for the Nationals. And take a look at what went up on the site today. Ricky Keeler wrote about how Eric Fedde's season is tough to evaluate. As we found out yesterday, he's dealing with a flexor strain in his elbow, but they did an MRI, and there really isn't too much structural damage. So his health shouldn't be an issue moving forward, but he is shut down for the rest of the year. Mike Rizzo said that he is a big part of their plans for next year and moving forward. So Joe Ross is probably going to have to miss all of next year. Maybe we see him back as a September call-up or something, but he's definitely going to be out for majority of next year. And there is a rotation spot up for grabs. We'll see if maybe Eric Fedde takes that, or if it goes to a guy like Edwin Jackson, who's pitched well for the Nationals this year. And then Ron Juckett wrote about Matt Albers deserving an extension. And usually when we write about something on the site, it seems like that night we get proved wrong. Like the other day, we put up an article about Daniel Murphy. His strikeout totals were rising, and that's when he turned around. So it's nice to see that we wrote about Matt Albers pitching well, and then he comes out and pitches well that night. So that's what went up on the site today. You should definitely go check those out if you haven't read them already. They're 2 great pieces. Judo Joker said, I'm betting Chris Sale is deflating the balls. How else is he on pace for 300 strikeouts? And yeah, you never know with those Boston, New England area teams. You saw kind of the same thing with Tom Brady a couple years ago with deflating the ball. So I have to keep an eye on that. And then Jay Lewis said, is Reed the future at catcher for the Nats? And yeah, there's people have always been saying that maybe Pedro Severino would be the catcher moving forward, but obviously Rowdy Reed isn't as good defensively, but a lot of Nats scouts are now putting Reed above Severino, and I've heard that Nats people think that Reed is a lot better offensively and has a better potential moving forward. So yeah, I think as long as Reed continues to develop, he is the future at catcher for the Nats. Him and Pedro Severino will most likely split the duties in the coming seasons. And we saw Reed got his first career hit yesterday. That was cool to see. And obviously there's many more to come, as he is an offensive catcher. So yeah, with this September baseball, we're kind of getting a little picture of what's to come and a little preview. So hopefully he continues to play well throughout September. And who knows, maybe we even see him on the roster next year if Jose Lobaton or Matt Wieters doesn't return. And then Judo Joker said there should be more catchers in the Hall of Fame. They're the most underrated player on a team, in his opinion. So yeah, there's not many catchers, and hopefully maybe we see Rowdy Reed develop and become one of them. There's something to keep an eye on. So if you saw the game last night, you could be one of those people that says you remember his first hit, which was an infield single, but it's a hit regardless. So it's always fun to see a player get his first big league hit. It's always a big moment for the player. So that just about covers it for tonight. We'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like and subscribe on YouTube. If you liked us on Facebook, and if you give us a follow on Twitter at District on Deck, or if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at DrewRD98. So for tomorrow's game, I believe that's Ricky is going to be with you for that one. We got Gio Gonzalez is going to be pitching against Dylan Peters from Miami. We saw Gio's last start in Miami was his near no-hitter right before he went on paternity leave. He's from Hialeah, Florida, which is close to Miami. He always enjoys pitching there, and he's pitched pretty successfully there. So hopefully we see that trend continue tomorrow. And Dylan Peters from Miami, he's making just his second career start. But in his first career start, he threw 7 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits against the Marlins in his against the Phillies in his major league debut. So we'll have to see how he fares in his second start. I think the Nats might struggle a little bit in his in the first couple innings because obviously they've never seen him before. But hopefully they'll figure him out going throughout the game. So the Nats won 2-1 tonight. Is a big game, and hopefully the Nationals can go out tomorrow and get a win and a series win. So tomorrow is another 7 o'clock start. You have to come watch with us for that one, and hopefully we have another happy DoDCast after the game. So from everyone at District on Deck, I'm Drew Douglas, and have a great night, everybody.